Hey YouTube faithful, Heavenly Prepper here. The title of this video is A Digital Unboxing. But before we get to that, we're going to start with a physical unboxing. And as you can see, I've cracked the box open here to save us a little time with the Recon Tanto fold out. And this unboxing is not gold or silver. In fact, it is pretty typical size ammo can for 50 cal rounds, and like I said, pretty standard size. But this is to hold other product that I have, and I needed something to hold some other assets I have. So bought a few of these ammo cans. Now, let's get to the digital unboxing. Let's see what we got here. Uh-oh, can you see that? Inside this ammo can is a Bitcoin. Yep, there it is. So I want to talk about Bitcoin. And this digital unboxing is basically me buying a Bitcoin. And of course, I can't really unbox a Bitcoin for you since it's, a protocol and purchased online. So unfortunately, I can't unbox a physical Bitcoin for you. But I wanted to talk about it nonetheless. And recently, Silverfish made a great video about silver investors eating their own, as far as stackers, bullion stackers versus collectors versus investors, and how we should be able to all get along and do our own thing, basically, and not denigrate each other for how we stack. And I've been watching Bitcoin for a little while now, and one of the impetuses behind purchasing a Bitcoin was just how adamant Raw Dog was against it. And so the more he railed against it, the more I said I had to check it out. And so what I did was I looked at all the reasons to own or not to own Bitcoin. Yeah, we don't know who invented it. That was the first problem that I had. But that kind of went away after I looked at all the other features. So let's talk about those for a second. You've got transferability. I can transfer a Bitcoin to anyone in the world who has a Bitcoin address nearly instantaneously and for almost no transaction cost. Well, it is transaction free. It's just to acquire it is a transaction cost on most of the exchanges. But a small one at that, much less than a credit card or much less than Western Union. And it's easily divisible. I can give somebody a thousandth, a 10,000th of a Bitcoin, a millionth of a Bitcoin, or a whole Bitcoin, or several. Okay, I only have the one. So, but I can transfer a thousandth of a Bitcoin to somebody instantaneously in Asia somewhere if I so choose. A nice little difference than if I want to send somebody a silver payment, obviously, much more difficult. Well, what else do I like about Bitcoin? Guys, it's similar to precious metals in the fact that it's limited in nature. You can't just inflate it or print it. There's only 21 million of these that ever exist, and currently there's like 12.2 or 0.3 million mined. So right now there's more than half already mined in existence, and there's never going to be more than 21 million Bitcoins. That's less than ounces of gold that'll ever exist. So it's definitely limited. It's not going to be inflated away. And it's portable, much more portable, obviously, than gold or silver, as all it takes is a hard drive. All right. What else? How about transferring assets to the next generation? I think the death tax is one of the most evil things on the planet. It is so wrong. Like, you die, and for some reason, if you're wealthy, the state gets a large portion of your wealth. It makes absolutely no sense. and you know that the state's going to spend it much more irresponsibly than your heirs would. And even if your heirs spend it irresponsibly, well, so be it. That's on them. Why does the state get a chunk? That makes no sense to me, and I think it's very evil. And so, if I had my assets in stocks, bonds, cash, real estate, guess what? The state's gonna get a huge chunk of that if I'm over a certain threshold. But if I have it in Bitcoin, well, maybe not. Just an idea. Bitcoin, similar to precious metals, is a show of force against the banking system. It's one of these things that says, I don't want to play in your rigged games where you create the debt and I'm choosing another avenue. It's not, I wouldn't own a Bitcoin if I didn't already have a stack. Okay? I'm not going to wake up one day and say, oh, you know what? I should stack precious metals. But first I'm going to get a Bitcoin. No, you need the precious metals first. That's your insurance policy, okay? But why not have a complement of a Bitcoin or several Bitcoins as a complement to that PM stack? What's wrong with that? It gives you the ability to transfer wealth to someone much more quickly, more securely, and without having to worry about driving something somewhere or mailing something somewhere. And it's convenient. It's decentralized, similar to precious metals. Okay, there's not one controlling entity. You're not beholden to the banks. Okay, there's a market. There's a blockchain. Look into it. And we already talked, the transaction costs are very low. So being an early adopter, okay, there's going to be risk involved. Bitcoin, while I'm making this video right now, it's around $800 per Bitcoin. But guess what, guys? You can go in and buy a tenth of a Bitcoin, a hundredth of a Bitcoin. You don't have to start at a whole Bitcoin. So let's say you just want to test it out and be an early adopter. Oh, and by the way, you're still an early adopter. Go ask your 10 closest friends if they own or have heard of a Bitcoin. Nearly guaranteed, nobody owns one, and maybe one or two have heard of it. Okay? So you are very much still an early adopter. With 21 million coins ever going to be in existence and only 12 million currently in existence, odds are that there's definitely less than 12 million people that own one Bitcoin. It's got to be probably less than 1 million right now that own a Bitcoin. So, and you can look it all up in the blockchain. It's public information. So I decided I'm going to complement my precious metals stack with the purchase of a Bitcoin and see what it's all about. You know, do some transactions, see what an online wallet looks like, and that way, if it ever goes viral, Overstock, just accept the Bitcoins. If it ever goes viral, I'll be in the early adopter stages. And I'll be familiar with how the system works and how to get your fiat money out if you so choose, or just transact in Bitcoins. So what's the harm in that? So is it all a scam? Could it all go to zero? Of course. It could go to zero. I don't think it's a scam. I don't know. I mean, don't put your 100% of your wealth in Bitcoin, okay? But test the waters. Take a chance, try something new. And who knows, maybe it'll pay off for you big. Had you got into Bitcoin when it's $20 and now it's 800, you'd be thanking yourself. I've got friends that think it's going to go much, much, much higher by a factor of at least 10. So I don't know, maybe it will, maybe it won't, but I just want to try it out and see what this digital currency is all about and give it a fair shot, because there's so many precious metal stackers that are so against Bitcoin, and I'm not sure why. It has the same principles, if you will, as precious metals. The same reasons you'd want to stack precious metals are the same reasons you'd want to stack digital Bitcoin, except there's a couple nuances of Bitcoin that have advantages over precious metals. And of course, I would never suggest you sell all your precious metals and buy Bitcoin. Okay, so if you have a stack and you feel like trying something new, check it out. If you don't have a stack, well, make a stack first. And then, perhaps, buy a half a Bitcoin. Alright, this is Heavenly Prepper, preaching and prepping, and taking a small gamble on Bitcoin.